We'll start by reading the problem. You plan to invest $12,000 in two funds paying 4.5% and 5% simple interest. There is more risk in the 5% fund. Your goal was to obtain a total annual interest income of $580 from the investments. What is the smallest amount you can invest in the 5% fund and still meet your objective? In this problem, we start by looking at the question, and the question is, what is the smallest amount you can invest in the 5% fund? So, I start by defining X is equal to the money invested at 5%. Now, I don't need to solve for the other unknown because it didn't ask me how much to invest in each account, but I still need to represent that with a variable expression in order to solve the problem. This problem again has two totals. At the beginning of the problem, I see my total investment. Ooh, can't write straight. Here we go. Total invested. And then later, I see my total interest or my total interest income. So, because I define my variable as the investment part, I want to use the total investment to define the second variable. I'm going to invest a total of $12,000. However, whatever I invested in the first account will not go in the second account, so I need to subtract that out. And this will be the investment, so the money invested at 4.5, I'm going to represent that with a decimal, so 4.5%. Now again, how I set this up, this $12,000 is the total investment. The money, some of the money, X amount, was invested at 5%, and then that X amount was not part of the 4.5% investment, so I subtracted that out. In order to write my equation, I know that my equation has to equal my interest earnings. So I want my equation to add up to 580. So something from the first account plus something from the second account is going to add up to 580. I have my two variable expressions. So the first investment is X and the second investment is 12,000 minus X. However, the $580 is interest, and the X and the 12,000 minus X are investments. In order to calculate the interest, I need to multiply the investment times the rate. So the first account is invested at 5%. So I represent 5% as a decimal. So 0.05, moving my decimal 2 places, times the investment of X. Same thing on the second account. Move my decimal 2 places, so 0.045 times the investment, I put parentheses around that so that I can use the distributive property, is going to add up to my $580 that I get in interest. Now once again, I'm going to let all the algebra up to you. And make sure you use the distributive property where you have the parentheses, so you multiply the 0.045 times the 12,000 and also times the X.